preparation. It's really great. I mean, I'd like to start at the beginning.
It's not the Chumash?
Inspirations.
It has all five of them.
It has all five in it. Oh, I see. Sorry. In other words, it's not a Chumash Mekrois Kedel. It's just a Chumash. Okay.
Tes B'Yor HaTavshin Sameches Shir Kali Parshas Behalosecha.
Right, so we're turning to the beginning of this week's Parsha Behalosecha. In which we see that there's a repetition of the mitzvah, the hadrochas haneros in the menorah. V'yidaber Hashem el Moshe le'medaber al Aaron v'mata Elov v'halosecha es haneros el mul pnei hamenorah yo'iru shivas haneros. That you must tell Aaron that when he will elevate the lights on the kavanah, on the menorah, then he should make sure that the lights will all shine, all of them, el mul pnei menorah. They will shine towards or they will be opposite, or leaning, or shining in the direction of the pnei menorah, the face, literally, of the menorah. Ya'iru Shivas Haner, all seven of them will shine towards the pneumis, or the pnei of the menorah. But just that implies you have to sit in at the table somewhere. You can't have you sitting at the back. You have to sit in somewhere. I can't have you sitting at the back like that. No way. You have to find yourself a place. But from that it would appear that we can't very well say that the Pnei HaMenorah, the face of the menorah, is some central point, and the other six lights will all shine in that direction. The fact that he says that all seven of the lights have to shine El Munu Pnei HaMenorah, and mashma that the Pnei HaMenorah is something higher and beyond than the actual menorah itself, or some inyan achmi in the menorah, and all the others, all the seven lights, are all going to shine, move that in the pnei hamenorah, pnim hamenorah. And then v'zeh ma'aseh hamenorah, mikshah zahav. It has to be one hammered piece of gold. Ad yirecha, ad pircha, mikshohi. So we said, he repeats twice that it has to be hammered from one solid piece. The Rashi explains it has to be hammered out. All the details of the menorah. Kamare asher Hashem es Moshe kain oso esa hamenorah. So ask yourself the Shaila on the part of the attentive reader. We've already mentioned the menorah several times already. First of all, in the Seder of the Malechas HaMishkan, when the Eibishter gives all the details of the building of the Mishkan and its kelim in Parshat Truma, then it's mentioned in detail how the menorah is to be made, and all its details and all the cups and the flowers and the shapes on the menorah. I understand he had a shir about that in the Kinnis Torah, at least the small Kinnis Torah that we made. He had a shir about the Shitta of Rashi and the Rambam, but the Rebbe brings down that they learn that the menorah was directly diagonal, etc. So we've been told all that in Pasha Truma. Then all of a sudden, the beginning of the next Pasha Tetzaveh, we're told that the Eibishter gave a special commandment to Moshe Rabbeinu that he should take the Shemen Zayis. And what sort of Shemen Zayis? In order to light a Ner Tomid. Even though he doesn't mention the menorah over there, but we just assume that it means to be lit on the menorah. And then some other details and certain very remarkable expressions which are used over there in reference to the lights of the menorah and the Shemen Zayis, which goes to make them lights. Then in Parsha Emor, in Sefer Vayikra, right near the end of Sefer Vayikra in Parsha Emor, once again we have the whole detail of the menorah and the lighting of the menorah, Al Yidei Aron, etc., occurs over there. And over there Rashi says that the Ikar commandment to actually light the menorah occurs over there in Parsha Emor. That's very interesting. Shittas Rashi Bezer, that he says that what's mentioned in Parsha Truma is only just telling me the Seder of the Melechus HaMishkan, how it was made and how it was built. But not necessarily, in all cases, everything mentioned over there commandments. So therefore Rashi suggests that the mentioning of the menorah over there in the Melechus HaMishkan is not a B'derech Tzivui, B'derech Sipur, just like telling us that there's going to be such a menorah. And then the next Parasha Tetzaveh, which mentions Moshe Rabbeinu having to command to bring the Shemen Zayis for the light, even though it doesn't mention the menorah, Rashi says that that's also not a tzivui to light the lights of the menorah. It's only that Hashem was telling Moshe Rabbeinu that's what he would eventually do, and this is one of the necessary details or lead-ups that he'll have to do in order to eventually get to the point where he'll give the actual commandment to light them. We went all the way till the end of Sefer Vayikra, and all of a sudden we get the commandment to light the menorah. So that's already 3 times in a major way that the Torah has mentioned the menorah and the lights on the menorah and the Shemen Zayis. We're going to Arichas. All of a sudden here, Shalom Aleichem, at the end of the Nidvas Nasiim, that they pour all the Korbanos for the initiation and the Chanukas HaMizbeach and the Chanukas HaMishkan. All of a sudden we find a reference again to the menorah. So as a result of Shaila, how many times do we have to mention the menorah? What is the significance of all these different mentions of the menorah? Comes along Rashi, and Rashi presents a question that we already dealt with, a question of this nature in the previous class. Rashi said, but the interesting thing is that certain of the great Meforshe Rashi, they don't have this whole piece of Rashi. They start off with Behalosecha. The next Rashi that we have here in this Chumash, I don't know what you've got in Chumashim, but in the Pirush of some of the very early Meforshim on Rashi, they don't mention this whole piece, and they don't even relate to it, and they start immediately off at the beginning of the first comments that they make on Rashi, only on the next part. And it would appear from the way it's printed that they didn't even maybe have this piece. But that's another field of inquiry which I'm not going to get involved in right now, why that would be the case. Fortunately for my purposes, in this particular Chumash here, it is written in Rashi. So it comes along Rashi and he says, Loma nishmecho parshas ha-menorah leparshas ha-nasiim. Yeah, why is it, says Rashi, that this particular parsha dealing with the menorah is placed right alongside the parsha of the Nasiim, meaning all the korbanos with the princes of the tribes brought for the Chanukas HaMizbeach or Chanukas HaMishkan. Lefi, so that's the question. Why is this one placed right alongside those? So we've already pointed out that Rashi should say that everywhere. He should say in all the places in Torah, why is this one alongside this one? But he doesn't. Only in rare cases does he do so. And we saw a document of that in last week's parsha when we get to the Nazir with the Seitor. Here Rashi says, why is this one placed alongside this one? And he answers, Lefi, Kisharo Aaron Chanuchas Anasiyim, when Aaron saw the initiation ceremonies made by the princes, by the leaders of the tribes, Hosha Oz Datoi, Aaron had a, how do you call it, a Chalisha Sadas, it's called in Yiddish. He had he became disappointed and cast down in himself. In other words, he felt that he'd been missed out. Hosha Daitoi, Shaloi Hoyo Imoem B'Chanucha, that he didn't offer any of the korbanos in the Chanuchah HaMizbeach. He and his tribe, he and Shevet Levi, didn't bring anything. It's only the other Shvatim. Even though all the korbanos that they brought, the Kohanim and the Levim had to take care of those korbanos. So I mean, it's very hard to say that he didn't have anything to do with the whole Chanuchah HaMizbeach. But the special isnadvus, or the special offering in a remarkable way that the Siyim carried out, that he felt that he'd missed out on. So the question is, what if Aaron would have come running along with the whole things that he wanted to offer in the form of an adorah to the Mishkan? I mean, they wouldn't have received it. I mean, what was his point about it? If he's not talking about the korbanos that he offered on the Mizbeach, which was his task, and his shevet as Kohanim and Levim, then he's talking about why didn't he offer something? Well, I mean, he could have offered. What's the problem? If he would have come with a special offering, would have been knocked back. I mean, it's hard to imagine that he would have got knocked back. So it seems that it just sort of understood that Shevet Levi, they want to bring, there was something that was just moving Me'eleihem, that they didn't bring any, how do you call it, Nadova for the Chanuchah HaMizbeach, for the initiation of the Mishkan. And therefore, he had a Chalisha Sadas from that Aaron. The Taki, why was that? In other words, why was it Ki'ilu revealed Be'ezishu Dera? Exactly how it was revealed that he shouldn't bring is that caused him a Chalisha Sadas. Omaleh Kodesh Baruch Hu Chayecha. What Chayecha is the lesson in our sages, meaning, by your very life. In other words, for sure you mustn't, or you must pay careful attention. Chayecha meaning, the opposite, exactly the opposite. Shelcha gedelim shelahem. Your portion is much greater than the Sha'ato madlik o meitiv es haneiros, because you are the one, or you and your sons, the Aaron, you're going to light and prepare. Meitiv means to prepare. According to the Rambam, meitiv can also mean to light. But in the Lashon Rashi, it means to prepare or make ready the lights. And that's your portion. A full stop. Remember, that's how the Eibishter was Menachem. He gave Aaron a Nechama, that even though he had this disappointment that he didn't bring for whatever reason all the wonderful offerings, willing offerings that the other Nesiim brought, he's comforted by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's going to prepare and light the neiros in the Beis Hamikdash. For sure everything is fine. Oh yes, that's for sure. Aaron is now okay. Everybody's okay, and now we go further. So Rashi said that's the reason why this is put alongside. This is put alongside death. So I mean, what Peklal is the question? So we have to assume that since it's not Lafia Seder, I mean, it doesn't really fit anywhere in the normal Seder of things, because we had the whole inyan of the building of the Mishkan, and we were told all the details of that in Sof Parshas Shmos. In Parshas Vayikra, we had all the inyanim of the korbanos, and we mentioned over there the menorah, albeit we mentioned it late, but we did mention it, and in the form of its commandment. Rashi said it's already been commanded, everything has been told about the menorah, albeit a little bit unusually, according to the order, but we've been told everything. And then in the Sefer Bamidbar, Ad Kan, we've also dealt with the Mishkan, we've dealt with certain inyanim connected with it. What all of a sudden over here in the middle of nowhere, all of a sudden again the Neres. So that's what was bothering Rashi. Therefore he said, Loma Nishmacha Yezel Lazeh. But the fact that he writes it, why is it that the Parshas HaManera is Nishmacha la Parshas HaNasiim, knowing that the Nasiim's got to do upon him with the Mishkan? Now we have to say that it's not so much that Rashi's asking here a direct kasha, a stark, tremendous, mind-boggling kasha, what's that doing alongside that? It's more that Rashi is wanting to be megala a tremendous prat and a tremendous detail that's happening here in the whole Indian of the what you might call the initiation of the Mishkan. In other words, that there had to be a Indian that the Nasiim brought all their offerings, and then there had to be a Indian that Aaron wasn't in that, and he had another Indian which was made of his, and therefore Rashi doesn't. What's the Indian of the Neres doing here? More beneath this than in other pieces. It's just like a lead into the fact that he wants to say that Aaron was like a shloma of the whole Chanukah, the Mishkan, even though he didn't do anything special, but there's something that he has to be told, and we have to be told, that since he is going to be lighting the Neres, then that's like the perfection of the whole Indian of the Mishkan. Both its Chanukah and its ordinary function, all of them are somehow or another perfected and summed up by the Adlochis HaNeres. And Afar Rashi said that's why that occurs here, right alongside the Nasiim, to show you that all the amazing things that they achieved with their unbelievable Chanukah's Mishkan to the Korbanos, as we know that it was written in Torah each time all over again, instead of just summing it up that each one brought the same thing, because they each were mamshich, another hamshocha, and they brought down other giluim. After in Rishonim it's brought down that biur, and the Alter Rebbe brings it in the Kuter, in Sfarim it brought down all, and the Nasiim all did amazing things, different one than the other. The sum up total, the whole thing is the Hadlochas HaNeres, and that's Aaron's business. And if today's the time he didn't bring, and it didn't even occur to him to bring a Nadova, but nonetheless, being as he was a human Aaron, he had a bit of a sort of a feeling that maybe it wasn't right. He sort of felt a Chalishas Hadar. Well, it is Sivan that you shouldn't have Chalishas Hadars of in good things and in Inyanim from Kedusha, and Inyanim that you feel maybe I could have been Mashlim Od Eze Inyan Toiv, that for that it's permitted to have a Chalishas Hadar. Nobody's got any tinus to Aaron that he had Chalishas Hadar. Edafa comes along Rashi and he says that's the Inyan from Madlikas HaNeres. So it comes along the Gevaldik Shaila on the part of the intelligent reader, and he said, what's so Gevaldik about Madlikas HaNeres? Rashi doesn't tell me what is the tremendous Maila, and what is it that made Aaron feel better, and all of a sudden he lost his whole Chalishas Hadar. I mean, he'd been lighting the Neres already a lot. I mean, he'd already lit the Neres before. It's not the first time he'd done it. What all of a sudden does the Torah and Rashi tells us that the Eibishter was Menachem Aaron with Adlochas and the Shalom Aleinu was what is more important or wondrous than the lighting of the Neres with all the other Inyanim in the Mishkan and Pafrat, with the bringing of all the amazing korbanos. It's brought down in Droshes Razal, Rashi's Marek, all the wondrous things that were indicated in these Nadavas that the Nasiim brought. It came all of a sudden, oh yes, you're Madlik Zanes, oh yes, everything's fine. Aaron's satisfied, everybody's satisfied. Okay, we're going further. Well, Sa'ad Kedikah, that the Ramban comes along, and the Ramban says that he doesn't understand what did Rashi. He understands the diuk in Rashi, but that's a diuk we'll soon see. It's in Medrash Chazal. It's in the Medrash Tanchuma, the Medrash Rabbah. They go into this. What was special about bringing here the Adlochas Haner? And he said, I don't understand. The Ramban says that Rashi tells us that Aaron was comforted by knowing that he was going to light the Neros. And notice, Ma yesh. What's so special about he's going to light the Neros? Va'ena Mefarish. Rashi's not Mefarish. What's the greatness of it? Comes along the Ramban. The Ramban says that if you look in the Lashon at the Medrash Tanchuma, and also in the Medrash Rabbah, it's also the Lashonos are different, but the implications are that they want to say that what was Aaron comforted, that the Neros have a special eternity about them more than other things in the Mishkan. And therefore it says in the Medrash Tanchuma that you should be happy that you're going to be lighting the Neros. Why? Because all the other inyanim in the Mishkan, like the Korbanos, they're all going to become betayli. They're all going to cease at a certain point. Over the Neros are going to go on forever. He's written the Lashon what the Ramban brings down from the Medrash. So immediately the Ramban himself asked the Shaila, I mean, how come the Korbanos were not eternal? I mean, what happened with the Korbanos? Because when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, so the Korbanos stopped. So therefore, the Ramban says, when the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, so the menorah also stopped. In one time, what's the pshat? Yeah, the Ato Madlik is the is, and that's going to be forever. And you see, that's what you have to be so happy about. Mashiach, all the other inyanim in the Mishkan, no. Says the Ramban, what is the answer? The answer is that there was such a thing as Chanukah happened in the world. And Chanukah was talking about the day, the Kohen Gadol, how do you say in the prayers? We are in Kohen Gadol, Chashmonai Ubono. There was a Kohen Gadol and his sons, the other Kohanim, and they had a gewaldige nes, and they had a gewaldige nes on Milchama, and then they had a nes with the Neros. And the Rabbanan saw after a year that this had such a big effect on the Jewish people that they made that the Yidden, all the Jewish people were going to light Neros at Sof Kol HaTeiros at the time of Hanukkah. Albeit they light an extra now, but that's a bit of a kasha. They light 8, and in the Mikdash was only 7. But Chassidus still paris with that shaykh. We're saying kind of mochim to go into that. We've got enough on our heads at the moment without going into that. But however, says the Ramban, that you see, the Neros do live forever. The Neros went on even after the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. The Neros Chanukah, they go on, and he goes on in some detail, the Ramban, to be Ma'ira, that the Golus is compared to darkness, and that the Neros Chanukah were lit after Shkiyah Sachama, Dafki in the darkness. But that makes them slightly different than the Neros Hamikdash. But that's another question, even a halakha question, isn't it? So you make sure that you're paying attention to what we're talking about. It follows Lefisa that asks yourself the question, what did the Ramban see to be the answer? Not mamish the Neros or the Mikdash themselves, but a thing which came out of the Neros Hamikdash, a thing which was nimshak, perhaps from the Neros Hamikdash, the Inyan from Hanukkah. So, Le'ido Gisa, that's very nice, but once again, it's back the other way. Ashayla, that you were menaching Aaron, upon him at that particular time, you were menaching with something which was going to occur much further and deeper into the generations to come, and in a time of difficulty and choisha, it doesn't have to do with the etzem hadlochas. We'll do it later. It doesn't have to do with the etzem hadlochas haner. How it is in the Mishkan also, and Aveda in the Mishkan. And therefore, even though the Ramban gets out of the whole problem with a wondrous beer, and that beer is brought down in many places and sitters with a tremendous Milo, Chanukah, etc., etc. So it's a little bit difficult. It doesn't really answer what did the Abish at that particular moment, what was he because Aaron was worried about the things that were taking place in the Mishkan. Why didn't he have a part in that? So David said, oh, you got the Neret. A mashmah in the Neret itself. And therefore Rashi is very right in a way that Rashi stops with that bilvad, and somehow or another he leaves you to understand what is the Gevaldik Gemaila of the Neres, Ki'ilu, that might be understood miyatzu. So we've got to, in order to try and be choicha v'doirish, what is that? What is this unbelievable mile in the Neres? It's just how they are, by very definition. The Neres as they are on the menorah, how it is in the Beis Hamikdash. Believe he connais l'kol inyan of Chanukah. It was, what was that? This unbelievable nechama to Aaron. So if we look a little bit further, in the Lashon Nasir, there's only a few psukim which mention the whole inyan of the menorah. Then we find another unbelievable dituk in Rashi. On Posik Dalet, Rashi says, "Bezeh Maisa HaMenorah." This is the making of the menorah. Says Rashi, "Sheharehu HaKadosh Baruch Hu bo'etz bo." That the Eibter showed Moshe Rabbeinu the menorah with his finger. In other words, the Eibter, the Eibter's finger showed Moshe Rabbeinu how to go about the menorah, how to make it. Why did he have to do that? Because Moshe Rabbeinu was very, in a state of difficulty and inability to understand how is he going to make this menorah gaval. I mean, you know what that is? To take one big hunk of gold, just keep hammering at it. Make all these unbelievable, things that come out of it, all these unbelievable flowers and other things. It's all going to be hammered and made, not allowed to put any of it together. You can't make it in any separate pieces and screw them together, like Rashi says here, and he's married over there in Pasha Truma, but in Gael Ladova there. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu was in a big quandary about how's he going to get to this, how's he going to do it. Therefore, came along the Eibishter, and he indicated and he showed Moshe Rabbeinu how to go about it. All right. So then there's a big piece where Rashi explains what does it mean mikshor. It's all made out of one. It's all made out of one piece. And then he says, right at the end, Cain also as Hamanur, right at the piece of the last pasuk, that so he did make the menorah Aharon. So Rashi says, Cain also as Hamanur, Misha saw, whoever made it. Cain also as a menorah, whoever made it. In other words, Rashi is saying that maybe somebody else really made the menorah. Therefore he says, Cain also, and it's not written Cain also Aaron. Yeah, it's just written Cain also as a menorah. So Rashi says, whoever made it, meaning maybe somebody else was involved here. And who was it? Nonetheless, in the Eibishter himself, or Medrash Agodah, what that means, it's not, mamish, simple description of Dvarim HaMuvanim yourself, Alfred Pshat. You have to go to a Medrash, which is more what you might call something to do with an Agadatum or the Biur. And he says, Medrash Agodah Al Yidei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Nasis Mi Leho. He said, through HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the whole menorah was made on it. Oh, Nasis Mi Leho. It just happened on it. Oh, David just made it. So the eyes mamish bulge out. I mean, what on earth is that? I mean, we just said that Moshe Rabbeinu made it, but he had David showing him the whole time. David was showing him do this and do that, and do something else. He had to overcome the problem that Moshe Rabbeinu quite justifiable he felt with the whole making of the man. Now all of a sudden Rashi says, oh no, who actually made it? The Eibishter made it. And he made it automatically, it all happened. So I still shouted about what happened? How did it happen? So, if you remember, I don't know, you guys, it's very audacious to expect that you would remember of over there in Pasha Truma. Well, this is a handy chumash in that regard. I go easily back to Pasha Truma and show you that over there in Pasha Truma, Rashi brings it towards the end where it's written B'neged to the menorah. That's written a similar type of expression, resolve toher teoseh hamenorah. The menorah shall be made. Teoseh with a yud. Teoseh hamenorah. So Rashi writes over there, the Moshe Rabbeinu was miskasher. How are you going to make the menorah? It's a tremendous job. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter said to him, take the whole big lump, the whole big lump of gold, throw it into the fire, they came out of the fire, the whole menorah. What Mephiza kommt is that Moshe Rabbeinu, Im Kain, he didn't really do anything. It means he just threw it into the fire, and the Eibishter told him to do it. The Eibishter said, Toil, as they state to us in the Medrash Tanchuma, Toil kikazeh v'hashlipa b'eish. Throw it into the fire. Where do you get the fire from all of a sudden? Throw it into the fire, it'll just come out. And that's what Rashi means here, that he says, Cain also is a menorah, whoever did it. Not necessarily Moshe Rabbeinu. Who would that be then? The Eibishter. How did he do it? Me'eleh. That happened on it. Oh, but here he doesn't go into the detail. It was thrown into the fire. It's getting a bit complicated. First of all, Rashi says that David showed him with a finger. Then he said, it was tapped all on it. All on its own. I mean, in a few lines, how does Rashi feel justified to do that to the intelligent reader? If it's like that, don't you get confused? If you just see everything, you got it all sorted out, and then you go a few lines further, boom, it all just happened on its own. And if you already told me that Parsha Truma, was it need to repeat it over here? What did it consider in it? What lazy tzedek or lazy inyan does that come in here? So it comes along the great early and first great mafurish on Rashi, the Rabbeinu Eliyahu HaMizrahi. He was from the very early Achronim. He wrote the first big pirush on pirush Rashi, and he makes this deal. He says, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say Moshe Rabbeinu did, and then all of a sudden say, oh no, somebody else did it. Who was it? Oops, if it was the Rabbeinu Shalom. And he says that it would be tempting to say that it's like two different opinions in the medrashes, and that's what we call medrashes chalukos, differing medrashes. And sometimes we find that, from one medrash of our sages to another, differing opinions, differing statements. Sometimes we find an agadata in a Gemara, and then we go to a medrash and we find. Bear in mind that the Medrash Rabbah was from Eretz Yisrael. It was, as it were, drawn up and made up from Chachmei Eretz HaKoyed. Either the Gemara is the Chachmei Bovid. Well, there can be differing in opinion sometimes in the Medrashes, and that's called Medrashes Chalukah. That's what the Ra'am, the Rabbeinu Eliyahu HaMizrahi, wants to suggest. And he said, but it gets a little bit difficult to learn that way, because if you look carefully in the Medrash Tanchuma, then he said the Medrash Tanchuma seems to say both things. The Medrash Tanchuma says at the beginning Moshe Rabbeinu had a big problem with it. He couldn't figure out how is he going to do it. Then the Eibishter showed him, and after Moshe Rabbeinu, even after the Eibishter showed him, he still said, listen, Moshe Rabbeinu still had a great problem with it. So over there he said, okay, throw it into the fire and let's make a save. Let's make a finish from the whole thing. I'll do it, See, you can't manage. So that's what he suggested, Rabbeinu was on the basis of that Medrash Tanchuma. It's hard to say that in the Tanchuma Medrash is Chalufis because it's mamish in the same few lines. So then we said maybe we could go and say that the real pshat is that in Emerson Moshe Rabbeinu tried very hard. He did try to make it, and the Emerson was showing him. But even with that, he said, look, it's an inhuman task. It's beyond humanity. And they said, let's make it divine. We'll make it a divine thing, and came out of the fire. That's what the Ra'am, that's what he suggests at the end. However, his case that it might be Medrash's Chalukes is not bad, because there's a Gemara, Masechta Menachos, what the Gemara brings over there, that there were several things that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't figure. Generally, the whole list of 3 of them over there, and then some of the great Meforshim even bring other Medrashim where there were other things that Moshe Rabbeinu was told he couldn't figure them, even things which weren't connected with the Mishkan. And because we're limited in time, and everybody says, well, we wander around so much in these classes, it's very hard to keep up, and therefore I won't go into what these other things are that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't figure, but one of them was the Menorah. So at the beginning, it's written that a menorah came down from heaven. A menorah shala'ish came down from heaven. It fell from heaven. One suggestion in the Gemara over there. And then the Gemara said, well, wait a minute, it's mashma that Moshe Rabbeinu was taught. That brings another pasuk that they taught him how to make the menorah. So how do you do that? So therefore, the Gemara reaches the conclusion that it was like both. On the one hand, Moshe Rabbeinu was shown how to do it, and yet on the other hand, he was shown by the Eibishter in a divine way that the Eibishter Kilu showed him, and then he was guided the whole time by Hashem, so it's not so hard to understand how he actually did it. And according to that, the Gemara's maskana is that in effect the Eibishter guided him, and it's a very interesting thing. The Gemara says over there that Eliyahu Hanavi was the one who actually came down and got involved in the whole matter. And Ad Kedikach, the Gemara says that Eliyahu Hanavi, the other day I said to somebody at a bris, that now that Eliyahu Hanavi is coming, we have to chop him by the gartel. You grab him by the gartel and pull him back. Shouldn't let him go. And you have to say to him, listen here, let's get moving with the Guru Slayma. So somebody said to me, who says Eliyahu Hanavi wears a gartel? So you'd be amazed. The Gemara says over there that he put on a gartel, Eliyahu Hanavi. As they state, that he put on not a mamish gartel, but he put on a sort of belt. People who want to do work in the good best, the best clothes, they put on a sort of gartel to pull their clothes around. It shouldn't get too involved in the work. Eliyahu Hanavi put on such a gartel around himself, and he got to work on the Menorah with Moshe Rabbeinu. He said, you see, do this, do that. Moshe became involved. It comes to us that Moshe Rabbeinu, together with Eliyahu Hanavi, they managed to do it. As I come to us from the Gemara. Yeah? And what the Medrash Tanchuma, and particularly the Medrash Rabbah, come to us, the final maskana is that ultimately the Eibishter said to him, listen here, man, throw it into the fire and then we'll do it. So I mean, there is a certain trace of Medrash's a certain trace of from the Gemara is the Medrash Rabbah auch upon him, but that's the Chakmei Boel, the Chakmei Eretz Yisrael. There seems to be a differing of opinion. So therefore the Ram is right, got a good point at the beginning. But he says if we look carefully in the Tanchuma, then we can sort of come to a conclusion that it's why both things were true. That Moshe Rabbeinu really did work, he tried very hard, but then in the end So comes along the Maharal MiPrague, and the Maharal MiPrague, in his famous work, the Gur Aryeh El HaTorah, the Maharal MiPrague, it says a most amazing, middle point, how do you call it, like a derech mitzvah, like we go down, כל מוקים שטעם מועצה שניים חלוכים ואחד מכריע, then halacha kedivra machriya. Wherever there's a difference of opinion, but there's like a middle point that seems to sum everything up, then you have to go according to the middle point. Yeah, we had that in the, I think we even had it in the Summer Both. Well, so you guys were on Perek HaKira, you didn't get that far in Perek HaKira, stay to it. Anyway, stay to it. Anyway, whatever. It comes again, the Maharal in Prague, and he says, the fact that Rashi in one Hemshire mentions the two things one after the other and just assumes that you're okay with it. He said, that's pretty amazing. I mean, so of course, you're obviously going to ask the question, why did Rashi just do that in such a understandable sort of way, as if that's okay, no real problem. So he wants to say like this, that the Eibishter, even when he's making a nes, Godel, and he's making a tremendous nes, and he's doing it for the sake of the teva of the world, and the teva of the ganze Klal Yisrael, he never does it in such a way that there's no preparation or ishtatfus or partnership in the nes mitzad the neshamas in gufim harei alamat. Very interesting cloud. And he said, the menorah, the Eibishter knew that he was going to make a nest by the menorah, but he didn't want that it should be a nest which is not the way he's prepared to make nisim. And therefore he had to get Moshe Rabbeinu involved. That Moshe Rabbeinu had to do something, he had to take some part in the whole union. And then the rest of it was completed Milmaila by the Eibishter. But he says a most amazing combination. And he said it's not the pshat that Moshe Rabbeinu just started, and then he said, oh, I can't really manage. And the Eibishter finished it off and the whole thing came about. He said what happened was that Moshe Rabbeinu, he threw the hunk of gold into the fire. He said, but not the case that the fire made it into the menorah, finished the way it was. The fire was a divine medium which made it possible for him to do what he had to do. And Moshe Rabbeinu picked up this burning piece of gold out of the fire. That's an interesting one. Yeah, maybe he also put on a gas or something to be able to hold it. Yeah, the burning piece of fire, of gold. And then he took the hammer and he looked at what Eliyahu or the Eibishter told him. He always had diagrams or something already. And he hit wherever he hit, it just did the right thing. It's not the Maharal. The Moshe Rabbeinu took a hit with the Kurnas, but wherever he hit, he just had he really hit. And boom! And all Moshe Rabbeinu had to do is make a few very meaningful, bangs and booms with the hammer, and it all started to come into play. Of a Henachanami, we had to have Moshe Rabbeinu. I say so to Marami Park. And eventually he brings, if you look carefully, and I looked it up, Taki status in the Medrash Rabbah that we have, Lefanenu, there's a whole portion in the Medrash Rabbah over there which is different than the Tanchum. The Medrash Rabbah says that Moshe Rabbeinu threw the thing in the fire and it came out of the fire, and came also as a menorah, Misha also as a menorah, Porcheya, Kaftoreya, and it mentions all the details that happened. And it says, at the end of that, all the details, it says, came also Moshe Rabbeinu. They stated in the Medrash Rabbah right at the end. And so then maybe we could tie it to what Rashi meant by Misha saw. It could maybe mean Moshe Rabbeinu, left after the Eibishter. But it happened Mi-Aleya, and that Aleya was divine. Yeah, but it wasn't purely Mi-Aleya, it was got Misha also. Well, to Schemar. In other words, that according to the Medrash Rabbah, it's a combination. That ain't nothing Moshe Rabbeinu didn't figure. The Eibishter showed him and gave him all the indications of whether Behalosecha or the Eibishter himself gave him all the indications. Then Moshe Rabbeinu liked the Tachuma, said, so the Eibishter said, okay, throw it in the fire. But when it came out, Moshe Rabbeinu continued to hold it and hit it with the hammer. That's a gewaltige Chiddush But the Marami Prague is madgish that he found it in the Medrash Rabbah, but he's masbid the whole thing on the way that I just explained, and he said that the Eibishter doesn't want the highest L'mayla Mi'ateva without a ishtatus of the Odom, without a ishtatus of the Odom Lamata. That he has to do something. And he said that one of the greatest miracles, which is considered L'mayla Mi'ateva, is Kriyas Yamsuf. He's up to Marami Prague. That's brought down and considered that one of the really great L'mayla Mi'ateva miracles is considered Kriyas Yamsuf. And yet, nonetheless, we see that the Eibishter told Moshe Rabbeinu, Harim es matcho alayom. You have to lift up your stick over the sea. Yeah, and you have to hit the water. And then, by Yiboku Hamai. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu had to do something. There had to be a Pa'ula mil mata on the part of Moshe Rabbeinu. He had to lift up, hit the water, and then the Eibishter made the unbelievable L'mayla Mi'ateva L'gam. And then in another place, the Marami Prague, I've got a chumash where they bring Mari Mekamis on the Marami Prague. They bring from other Sforim. He wrote, and he brings down an amazing thing we mentioned last week about Orpah, the other one, together with Ruth, the other shoot the fire, Ruth at the beginning, her Yevoma, as you might call her sister-in-law. And it was Orpah. It's written that she had eventually an angel called Goliath, the guy that caused all the Torah, a huge giant called Goliath. So it's written that David HaMelech, being very young, David HaMelech put him away. And how did he do it? He did it with a sling. So bring to Marami Prague that is brought in Medrashi Chazal that it wasn't with the sling, that he killed him with the Shema, that he said the Shema Ba, he said the Shema Mafayrosh, and that's what killed him. And therefore we find that David HaMelech said to him several times, if you don't stop cursing the Eibishter's name, I'm going to get you. And he just laughed even more. So David HaMelech warned him, he said, stop cursing the Eibishter's name, otherwise you're going to... In other words, the David HaMelech was concerned with the inyan of Kiddush Hashem. And the inyan of Achilul Hashem was happening through this tremendous goy. And the fire, it's brought down that he killed him with the Shem HaMafoyer. I had written clearly in the pasuk, he threw a stone and hit him between the eyes with the stone. So what happened? So said the Marami Prague, the both things happened. Maybe I'm either shouting too much or I'm hitting the table too heavy or something. I think you better tell whoever it was that we need to buy a stronger tripod. Anyway, whatever. So said the Marami Prague, no. He said that the Be'emes and Nochanami, David killed Goliath with the Shem Havaya. He said, but there had to be a Pa'ula, no matter, he had to throw the stone. Ubila Deizeh, there wouldn't have been the whole inyan of the scholars said the Shem Havaya Boisarek. And he goes to bring out the doings, and then I saw that somebody brings down as a famous Ramban. Well, it's not all that famous because it's not terribly long, but the Ramban says over there, when you get to Tevis Noya, and the Ramban says that the whole inyan of the Tevis Noya was a tremendous net. You got all these animals, it's hundreds and hundreds. And, some of these animals are huge in size. He says over there, he brings an example, the elephant. And a few other people, so you had to put in two, there had to be a pair of them at least, two huge elephants inside the ark, then all the other hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of species, there had to be Zohar and Mekeba. And then by the kosher animals, there was 7 of them each. I mean, it's a huge amount. So the Ramban says, no matter how big you would have made a huge exhibition building or something, you wouldn't have been able to get all those animals in and get them all comfortable and look after them for the whole Shona Tamima. It was a whole complete year that they were inside the ark. He sagt, Rashi bringt the ganze Riefe. And the fire, The Ramban says, why did the Abishah say just make a little weenie ark, little nothing, and I'll pack in all that. I'm going to make L'mayla mi'ateva b'lav, okay? I'll just pack in everything in a little space, and everybody be right. Save Noach the whole. It took Noach how many years it took him to build Rashi brings it took him a heck of a number of years to build the ark, and yet nonetheless it couldn't possibly have been big enough. I said, what did you make him work all those years for? And he fracked the Ramban. And for the Ramban, that's the way they have to work. He wants you to do everything you could possibly do. And therefore, to make a little weenie ark, that's not the end. There would have been a nest like Armei Luloko, a basis pateva. First of all, they had to make everything. In those days, it was a huge piece of work to make that. Vaharaya, it took him all the years that it took him to make. Then there was a nest. Shalei Kedera could tell that all the animals fitted in the ark, and there was all their food, and there was all the, and then there was the human beings, and there was everything. It's an unbelievable hanem, as they say. Yet nonetheless, it all fit into this relatively small building, but it took a good few years in those days to make such a building. Remember, that's the Ramban. That has to be a status milmata for a genuine givur l'mayla mi'ateva, and sometimes that status has to be ad kamashi odeino, of human hands are able to read. And if I said to Marami Prague that this is a cloud god, and he said therefore Moshe Rabbeinu made the ark, made the menorah. The Moshe Rabbeinu made the menorah because that it was with as much as he was able to. That's what be good. Like he said, the Tanchuma, that it was hard for him, and he kept hinting to the Abishah that it's hard for him to get it done. Auch upon him we see Lefi said, become ways we can explain that principle. In different ifana, we can find it in different ways. But it's not the place to get involved in the whole arichas beregazeh. However, if we take that principle at a Marami Prague, then we see that Moshe Rabbeinu was actively involved with the hammer, and therefore the different lashonos which occur, that he had to hammer this way and hammer that way in order to make them, and are in effect true. But nonetheless, it was made divinely in fire with the whole arichas. Everything is true. So ask yourself the unbelievable shaila, why is that inyan? Why does it have to be that Moshe Rabbeinu Taki did everything he could and he hammered with the corners, and yet nonetheless basically the whole menorah is a divine thing. It's mamish came out of the fire, and it wouldn't have been shayach if it wasn't a divine thing. Why is it darkened by this inyan that the Torah reveals that to? I mean, there are enough at the great kalim that were very difficult to make. I mean, how do you call it, the kapoiras, the cover for the Aron Kodesh, and with the Shnei Keruvim, and there was also a mixture, and it was a tremendous amount of work, a tremendous effort, and a tremendous, unbelievable chokmah, and everything went into the making of the Aron. And the Shulchan, all the kalim were made with chokmah elokis, and therefore it's written by all the chachamim that they worked, that they to put a special divine spirit into them. Betzalel, he's called Betzalel because he was Betzal Kael, Betzal a Chokmah Hoyisa, that you were mamish in the shade of the Avish's own wisdom. So I mean, everything was why is it that Dafki by the menorah we see this unbelievable stress in all these midrash? Rashi chazes it over here, even though he already said it in Parshat Truma, but here Rashi chazes it over in a way that he joins the two lines together. Over there he just stressed that it was made from heaven, but here he stressed that Moshe Rabbeinu made it, Lafi, the plans of David, and also made it. What's it the inim bazeh? Why Dafki? And with that we'll maybe understand why Rashi doesn't say anymore our original shayla. And that is that we see that this whole inyan here is after Matan Torah. After it's already been the inyan for Matan Torah Bapoyo, this inyan occurs here. What was the great Chiddush of Matan Torah? What was the unbelievable Chiddush of Matan Torah? We can't say that the whole inyan for the Chiddush of Matan Torah was only that a tremendous amount of Torah was given Lamata. But before, all they had was just inyanim that they had to work out themselves, and then afterwards it was given, the Chumash and all the 613 mitzvahs, and it was given Midrashim, but that was given Be'ikar. After the whole inyan of the Chet HaEgel in the Lukas Shniyos, Midrashim and Gemaras and inyanim Ad Lahafli Midrashim Chadal. It's hard to say that was the whole inyan of Matan Torah. But Vadai Sheyesh was there. That's one of the big chidushim in Matan Torah, that the Yidden was zeicha to a ribui Torah. Remember we had it in some of our barichas, the whole inyan. They were zeicha to a ribui Torah. This is, for Vadai, one of the important inyanim, and gave the power to be mavar of the world, etc. But we have to say that there's a much deeper, more important inyan in the whole inyan for Matan Torah. And that is that the Eibishter gave the Torah in such a way that it would become a part of the world, and that the world would mamish become, like the Alter Rebbe says, taken from Yad mamish, Mola ha'oretz deyo es Hashem, like the Rebbe is marik, a Mola ha'oretz, the etzem world, the physical world, is going to be full of deyo es Hashem. It's going to be full, absolute bittul and iskalos elokus is going to be misatzim with the elam atachta. How is that going to happen? Well, that's going to happen through Yidden. Up to now, you've had very important people like the Oveis, and they reveal things in the world. But the Medrash says they reveal things like the Mila of Reach. It was beautiful, unbelievable, spiritual inyanim. But they didn't, and therefore the Medrash says that the mitzvahs that the fathers did were reichvot. They were like, how do you call it? Spiritual, beautiful perfume vapors, but they weren't actually down in the world, misatzim with the inyan hagashmiyas, and to turn the world into a mokim, that the world will become mamish elakus kipshutin, not just gil elakus, mamish elakus. So who's going to do that? That's the neshamas. Well, they're the ones that they're going to do that, and therefore the greatness of Matan Torah is not just the giving of the Torah, but the giving of the Torah to the Yidden, and making the Yidden the power through which all this is going to happen. And therefore the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, who's going to make the Liyosid? Al Hidei Avedishan, wie steht dort? Al Hidei Avedishan b'meshech hagolos, the Dafki, the Yidden, they're the ones that are going to make the Gilui for Mola ha'oretz deya es Hashem. In other words, that the Ik is the Yidden, the Ik is the Neshamas, and the Torah is only given to the Neshamas that they're going to actually carry about. In other words, that if I were to just drop Torah into the world, just imagine, I gave all the Torah into the world, but there was no Yidden. There was nothing in the world, just the Torah. Shalom Aleichem. The whole Ganser is that there has to be the Yidden. And they say, the whole thing is going to happen. In other words, Torah only makes sense, and it only has any power if there's Yidden. And the Yidden, they are the whole Ike, even more than the Torah. That's the Kiddush I want to get out. They're even, as it were, they're even more essential than what the Torah is. Because we could say that the whole inyan of the Torah was only given in order that the neshamas to be able to reveal what they really are. And therefore the Torah, that's what the Alter Rebbe says, the neshamas are chelek elikah mimar mam. And therefore when you meet up with a Yid and you have to deal with a Yid, and you're dealing with a person that is a chelek elikah mimar mam. And he's the tachlis of the whole Bria. He is the point of the whole creation. Without him it doesn't make any sense, klar. He is the tachlis. The Torah was given in order that he should be able to do what he's got to do. And the whole inyan of the Torah is a giving of strength to a Yid, that he can actually reveal what he really is. Therefore, the Rebbe Melech HaMoshiach, spent hours every Sunday watching people go past and give them $1 and revealing to them what unbelievable nisim and inyonim ufloim, what's never been in Jewish history, as Kemuvan never will be. Tavu is because the Yidden are the Yikah. The Rebbe spent all his time just giving the Yidden the power to do what they're going to do. If we look in the blessings when you go to a chasana, they make these 7 brachot. You ever heard of a 7 brachot? And you chazar over the 7 brachot. So at the end of the 7 brachot, the last 2 brachas are that we say Baruch Atah Hashem Sameach Chosen V'Chalor, and then we say Baruch Atah Hashem. The last bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Misameach Chosen Im HaKalor. So the first one is that the Eibishter makes prayer at the Chosen and the Kalor. The next one says that the Eibishter makes the Chosen Freiler with the Kalor. In other words, that the whole, how do you call it, Simcha, and the Chosen is only because of the Kalor. So it brought down in Siddur that the view of Bezeh is that the Misameach Chosen for Kalor is referring to the Torah and the Yidden. So the Eibishter makes Freilach, both the Chosen and the Kalor, the Yidden are receivers from the Torah. However, the Emes of Pneumius is that the Yidden, they are mashpia into the Torah, Misameach Chosen Ima Kalor, that the Torah really receives from the Yidden. And if not the Yidden, then you can't really make any sense out of the whole Torah, as we just pointed out. If it would have been Matan Torah and there hadn't been Yidden, there wouldn't have been any purpose in the giving of the Torah. And that's what was discarded by Matan Torah, is that the whole Ika is really the Yidden. The whole Ika is the Neshama Slamat. They are the whole Ika. And therefore, every moment, what a Neshama does, that's what we're trying to get across to you guys, what we're trying to bring in the whole time. The Lechari could say, Mein Afkemine, if I wear a telescope with a Zamin Dre or a Zamin Dre. But what does it matter if I don't wear a telescope sometimes? Okay, each of us in. So the answer is that it matters the heck, and it matters in Mamish in Atzma Saint Save, because the Eibishter gave the whole Torah just that you should go and do certain things and do them the way he wanted, and he's Megala in the Shulchan Aruch, only that you should do it the way he said, but you have to do it, otherwise it doesn't have any point, the whole thing. It depends how you as a Neshama and a Guf, how you're going to do it. Misameach Chosen Im HaKalor, that the Torah's emes of Simcha is from the Yidden, and the emes of meaning of the Torah is all from the Yidden. Therefore, it comes to us that that's what the Maharal Prague is hinting, that you can't have a nest. Even the Eibishter does the greatest things of the after Matan Torah. He does it even before Matan Torah, but after Matan Torah, he's not going to do anything without you being part of the story. You've got to put in your part, and you've got to do things b'shleimas that you can possibly do as neshamas begufim. Then he finishes up. Then the Eibishter will do the rest. Then it'll be in a reifah from nes golui or Maila Lamat. And that's what Rashi is Maram is over here, after the whole thing has happened. After the ganze Indian of Matan Torah with the whole thing and everything is already getting moving, all of a sudden comes again the Torah and tells me all of a sudden about the menorah again. And over Rashi says, Wujim Tamova Maisa, Loma Nishma Kazela. So what all of a sudden Maasa with the menorah, a whole story with the menorah. What you do it? Edafar, says Rashi, that Aaron heard that he was going to light the menorah. Oh, then Aaron was already fine. Everything went down. He didn't have any problems anymore. I brought down 2 opinions. Some people hold that the menorah indicates the Torah, and they bring a posse. The ner mitzvah with Torah oyer, the ner is the mitzvah, and the Torah are compared to lights. However, chassidus all over. Mamish in Likutei Torah, the altar brings barichas gedolah, and in the drushim of all the rabbeim, they say the menorah is connected to neshamas. And the 7 neiros are the 7 different types of midas that there are, and the 7 different types of avodah of the neshama. Therefore, the Alter Rebbe, right at the beginning of this week's parsha, if you look, he brings down each midah, and he shows how each different yid can have a shaykhah to a certain midah. And there's a famous diuk that he misses one of them out. And the Rebbe once made a whole sikha about why did he miss out that particular midah. So I'm going to leave you a little test. Maybe you'll learn a piece of the Torah and somebody will tell me which midah do you leave out. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but we'll leave it up to you guys. And somebody will tell me afterwards what midah did the Alter Rebbe leave out. But anyway, he says that the whole menorah is not the Torah, but it's the neshama. And what does it have to do? It's michutz lepareichas. It's not in there where the Aron is. It's already outside a little bit. It's already getting out towards the world. Yeah, because you got to light up the world, and you got to already be michutz lepareichas. You got to be ready to move out into the world and light up the whole world. And only the neshamas can do that. And therefore, it's put down in the Shloah Kodesh. He said, if you look carefully, the way the menorah was placed inside the sanctuary was placed in such a way that it was mamish opposite the Oren. And therefore, Pele Dikazach, the menorah is supposed to be on the south, and the shulchan is supposed to be on the north. So the truth of the matter is that if you look carefully, even Rashi says in Parshat Truma that the menorah didn't stand mamish on the south. It was towards the south, past halfway. It was already to the south, but it was a bit towards the middle. Look up and you'll see. So the Shloah Kodesh said, what was it doing a bit towards the middle? Because we had to have it opposite the Oren. Said the Shloah Kodesh. And the Shloah Kodesh says, he said, because the whole Indian of the Oren is to feed cow power into the neshamas, the Ika of the neshamas. They're on the outside. They got the work to do. They are the Ika of the whole creation. The Torah's got to feed into them. You've got to be always opposite the Oren. Oh, but the whole Indian of the Torah is a messinas koyak to the neshama. And if it's well known, and the Rebbe brings it in many occasions, that sometimes Rashi's dveikus in pnimius is so obvious that what he really means, sometimes more than anything else, is pnimia. the pshat and the other Inyanim tend to fall inwards somewhat in Rashi. And this is a classical example. Because he comes along, Rashi, he says, Aaron was concerned, he was worried, maybe should have, maybe shouldn't have, all of a sudden the angel says, Atam madlikas haneiroi. And the Ramban says, was it the neiros? What's it? Ad kedei kach. Yeah, and Rashi just stops there, because Aaron knew that the whole inyam of all inyanim, the tachlis of all things, was to light up the neshama. You got to elevate the neshamas and lift them up and bring out the tremendous light that every neshama's got, and that's what lighting the menorah was all about. Oh, Aaron realized that he's got that to do. Oh, that couldn't be better. That is the ikar from the ganze Line. I am just right across, right inside the paroiches, the Oren. The Oren is the Oren is that's the most precious thing that's in the ganze Mishkan. What could be better than the Oren? No, he said the whole winner of the Oren is only to feed power into the neshama. And if I in the second Beis Hamikdash, the Aron wasn't really there, and yet nonetheless the Mishkan was still there, and the menorah was still there. Because it's not the case that the ganze Ika is the Aron. The Aron is a tremendous Ika. Oh, but the ganze Ika is the menorah, the neshama. And therefore, over there in Parshat Truma, the menorah. Next thing, Parshat Tetzaveh, all over again. Moshe Rabbeinu. What does the Rebbe say? What these people call it the last Maimon Chas v'Chor, Lila v'Chas v'Sholem. What does the Rebbe say in the Atot Tetzaveh, the famous Maimon? He said the whole inyan of Moshe Rabbeinu was to light up the neshamas and turn the neshamas and bring the Yidden to the Atzmas, Kosis Loya. And the Rebbe said, what's this Kosis? Kosis means that you're broken up. You're broken into smithereens. You're broken into little pieces. So the Rebbe said to me, the fact that you're in Golas, it could be you're a millionaire. It could be you got 5 Cadillacs and I don't know how many chauffeurs, and you got they're all over in Switzerland, and $500 billion, with kol ha-mekaymes, and you're bursting with all kol tuv mizeh ha'olam. The Rebbe said you got to be zerbrochen auf sticke because you're still in the Gola. And you can't take another minute of the Gola with all the beautiful things that you may happen to have in the Gola. Gesundheit. If Dave's got to give, let him give you. What's wahrscheinlich? Aber you're in the Gola. In the Golas, Mishuge, Vahanoira, that every moment it's getting worse and worse. I had to give a person some money today, and I asked a guy here in Pakistan, what is the dollar worth? He said, I can't tell you. I said, you're crazy. He said, no, every hour it's going down. Every hour, that's what he told me. Der ganze Amerika, mit der ganze American president, der ganze Meshuggah, mit all the men, they're all going down into the drain. They're falling, the whole thing is going. It's ending. So people say, oh, no, if not the dollar, maybe the sterling, maybe something else. Give it a few weeks. That's also going to blow. The whole thing. Because they wouldn't listen to the Navi. They would not listen to the Navi. Mihu Yehudi. You ever heard about Mihu Yehudi? You ever heard of that? Yeah. You heard of Mihu Yehudi, you guys?
Yeah.
Don't even know what I'm talking about. Because I don't believe the Rebbe said it's the most terrible gezerah that ever happened to the Jewish people. That they made over here that you can make Kerim Shaloi Halacha. And the Rebbe shrayed and he said it's the most terrible thing that's ever happened in history, you must stop it. And he had all these Frumayim and all these big so-called Rabbonim and Oid. They said, oh, what's the big deal? All the friars be Meshuggah, we're in our chug, it's not going to happen. So now there's this unbelievable storm going on. Have you ever heard about it? Oh, the last few weeks they were going mad. Mihu Yehudi, because it's already getting so bad that it's beginning to creep into the yeshivas. Oh, it's creeping into the yeshivas. Oh, Shrey, what a terrible thing. The Rebbe told him it was going to happen. He warned them, begged them to do something about it. Now that it's affecting their pupik, as they say in the old Polish Yiddish. But the pupik means the kishke. You know what a kishke is? Huh? The intestine, what you call it? That's creeping into their intestines. So, what are we going to do? The Rebbe told you. He warned them. He said it's going to happen. And now it's happening. Like everything. Whatever the Rebbe said, it's going to happen one way or another. Even for good, or Rahman in Islam for the hate. What are you going to do in this Meshuggah? I mean, it's just mad. You just say, we want Mashiach now. Just be honest and say that that's what the Rebbe said. The Rebbe said that you should say, we want Mashiach now. And do it. And the Eibusher wird sich helfen. Do dich Sofik, also with good time. No, don't do that. If I'm ever sitting in the go, and the door is just going down, he told me every hour that all the economics about the whole world is going bloop, 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 bloop. Oh my, Lafi komt uit. Lafi komt uit that the whole Indian is Meshuggah. The whole Indian from the go is just absolutely crazy. Aimless a cold, doesn't make any sense anymore. It's just mad, absolute mad. That's the goal. That's what Rashi says. Who's going to save the whole thing? It's the neshama, the Yidden. All the Yidden are just got to do is to open up their neshama, which says anyway that it wants Mashiach. It always, the neshama has always been saying that it wants Mashiach. Just open up your neshama, and then everything will be all right. Achako bachu miko. Everything will be beseder. Berege echel. And that's what the Torah was made for. The Torah was made for Yidden to show what they really are, to show that their Atzma say even higher than what the Torah is. The Torah is only a giving of power to the Neshama. And that's what Rashi said. Aaron heard that, and he said, "Oh, my whole thing is only to make the Neshama." Remember, he was absolutely more than could possibly be imagined satisfied. And remember, Yeter up the whole kasha from the Ramban. It's all hidden in the words of Rashi. That's what he was trying to say. Since that's the case, then all we got to do is just wake up our power of being neshama. And that the Maharal Miprag, you should realize that the Alter Rebbe was the seventh generation direct from the Maharal Miprag. The Alter Rebbe was from the Maharal Miprag direct. The seventh generation. The Maharal Miprag, he was the beginning. He was the Koach of Malchus by David, he was the Koach of Mashiach, and he was the beginning of the whole Pnimis HaTorah, what the Alter Rebbe had the privilege to reveal into the world through the Baal Shem Tov. But the beginning was of Maharal Miprag. And he says the whole story. He says that we've got to have the Yidden, and all we've got to do is just hit with the patish and the Svitalskei. And it's going to go with a divine fire. He said, but Moshe Rabbeinu had to be there, a Yid's got to be there, and you've got to give a clap with the patish, but it'll all fit into place. But you've got to do that. Because you're a neshama, and without you, after Matan Torah, it's not going to work. Everything is dependent in the neshama. And that's the menorah. That's what it's all about. We understand why it is that the Rebbe says that until we wake up to the neshamas, then it's going to be very, very hard to bring Moshiach. And the fire, you have to go around the world, and you just got to wake neshamas all over. You just got to get to this place to that place, wherever you go. You stop at a tank and say, "Oh, you," and you've already woken up the neshama. He realizes of a second that he was a neshama. Must be. That's enough. We don't need any more than that. And that's what we see, that the whole thing was very, very, momentary. It's not something that took days and years and it was for Moshe Rabbeinu to make the menorah. And it went. And remember the same thing, every year there's a menorah, and he's part of the menorah, and every year has got the Torah which is giving him the power to reveal what he really is. But ultimately speaking, the Torah needs the Yidden. It can't really carry out its thing in the world without the Yidden. And that's Matan Torah. And therefore there has to be Kabbalah Torah, Matan Torah and Kabbalah Torah. It has to go from both ways. Hashem should hope that we should understand what we're really up to, what is really happening in the world, what is really going on. And we've got to realize that there's a Panei HaMenorah. We made the deal that all the seven lights shine into the Panimis of the Menorah. So it should be written all the six lights shine into the Panimis of the Menorah. Because one of them has to be, as it were, the Panei HaMenorah. And therefore a lot of them are forshim that the west light, or the Ner Marovi, whichever one of them it was, that's a difference of opinion. The Ner Marovi burnt the whole time. It was a miraculous Ner. So all the other Ners literally shone over in front of the Ner Hama, and shone in front of the Ner Marovi. So if he's there, it should be written Kol Sheishis HaNeira. But it's written, El Mu Pnei HaMenorah, there has to be the Shiva Neira, all seven of them. But for that says the Alter Rebbe that it must be that the Pnei HaMenorah, like we were medactic at the beginning of the show, there must be a Pnei HaMenorah which all seven of them face. In other words, that in the Menorah there's a Pnimis which you can't quite define. And that's called Pnei HaMenorah. And what is that Pnimius that you can't quite define? That is the Rebbe. That in it is, that's the Neshama Klali is, and the Neshama Atzmi is, what all the other Neshamas have to somehow or another turn in his direction. Whenever you talk to people, you must talk in the name of the Rebbe. And you'd cause somebody to turn for a moment towards the Rebbe and even to say, oh, yes, the Rebbe, then you've done it. You've done the most wondrous thing that you could possibly achieve, because that's very tremendously necessary, that all the Neros must face the Pnimiyat and Achmi of all the Neshama. That's the Neshama, or the Neshama Klali and the Neshama Achmi but also the Ini from Moshe Rabbeinu V'Oid, Bismaneinu Zeh, it's also the Ini from Melech HaMashiach. And Alideh, when all the Neshamas turn that way, then they reveal themselves what they really are. They're the ones that are going to change the world, and they're the ones which are the real world. And therefore, Liyosid Lovei, it's going to be Yidden the way they are now. Just a lot more holy and a lot better, but they're just like it is now. Neshama is Begufi. The Abish said he's not prepared to overlook his Yidden. He has to have them, and they're going to be in the eternal world just like they are now, but a bit better. A lot better. But just like they are now, with Gufim and with Neshamas in the Gufim. Ad Kedekach. But the Rav Rashab asks in a Maimah that when you have your Guf, you're going to have all the different organs inside the body that Liyosid Lovi, we're not going to need them, because you're not going to eat and you're going to drink, and there's not going to be any Chas v'Cholila Peseilas for Kayetza Bazeh. What are you going to need all those in Yonim for? Just make a body, it'll be just a bit of skin and bones or something. What do you need all the ornaments in the body? They're not going to be working B'klal. For Hanford, the Rebbe Rashav, and he says that we have to have them, because since they've put in so much, Meshet the Golem, and they've done so much work with themselves to be so holy and to be a Kli, to be Megala Etzem Elokus in the world, then they're going to be there also. They're also going to be Nikla in the Gil Elokus, even though they won't be functioning in the normal way. And take it from Yad, we should be zeichet to see it immediately. Take it from Yad, and we should be able to light the menorah, the hoiro, and the menorah Sadov, Alidei, Aaron HaKoyen, in the Beis HaMikdash, and we should be able to say, Hine Elokeinu Zeh, because the Ik is going to be the menorah. The Ik is going to be the menorah, and the Neshamas, and take it from Yad, the Pnimius and the Pnei HaMenorah will be together with us. I just spoke to somebody on the phone. That's very interesting. I didn't say a word. It was Gonshi though. Lo Mati Klum was a lady. She was talking. She asked me a question about something. And all of a sudden she said, Rabbi, she said, Hashem should help us that we all be together with the Rebbe immediately. I didn't say a word. She said to me, we're all going to be together with the Rebbe. So I said, oh man, so that's it. Yeah, Omu Pnei HaMenorah. Oh man, Ken Yerotzen.
Yeah.